Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardha Dhari Jasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Ahari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Ahari Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astatarosh Shamat, His Divine Grace, Srila Abhay Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON Founder, BBT Founder, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Antaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Vyasadev Ki Jai. Guru Parampara Ki Jai. Bhakti Vedanta Purports Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Sri Gauranga Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Looks like we have some transcendental competition. Normally it's not this here, right? The Harinam. They also singing the glories of the Lord, so all right. Hope we're not committing an offense. All right. Is the sound needs to be increased, or it's all right? Somebody can help with it? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Nothing happened. The sound. Oh, it's there. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Okay? Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare. Oh, some echo. Hare Krishna. Is that all right? Okay. Thank you. There's no echo. Little bit. It's better? Hare Krishna. Okay, that's the best we can do. One announcement for tomorrow's class. We will begin at 4, just for tomorrow, normal, like now. But we'll have a shorter class and we'll finish a little bit before 5. So the class will be around 45 to 50 minutes or so, because they are doing the Adivas ceremony in this Panchatattva extension classroom for the Navadvipa Mandal Kartik Parikrama, which begins the next day. So they requested me to that they wanted to start at around 5 or so. I said, yes, fine, that's also very important. We'll still have some discussions for about an hour, or under an hour, but then they will begin. That means we are going to discuss tomorrow for this 30 minutes less, which we will sort of cover. Tomorrow is Monday, so we'll cover more for that on Tuesday and Wednesday. So we'll try to discuss more on Tuesday and Wednesday in the normal time, 4 to 5:30 p.m. But just for tomorrow, it will be from 4 to 5 p.m. so that we can help the devotees to prepare for the Adivas ceremony before they go off on parikrama the next day. That's one announcement. I'll just repeat the announcement at the end of today in case somebody comes in a little late. And that's the announcement for the Mayapur TV viewers too. All right. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we continue with the 10th canto, chapter 9, Mother Yasoda binds Lord Krishna. Today we'll do text number 4, combined with text number 5. But first, text number 4. Tam stanya kama asadya mad nantim jananim hari grihitva dadi mantanam nyasedat pritim avahan. You can repeat the translation, some words at a time after me. While Mother Yasoda, everyone, was churning butter, Lord Krishna, desiring to drink the milk of her breast, appeared before her, and in order to increase a transcendental pleasure, he caught hold of the churning rod and began to prevent her from churning. Nice two-line purport from Srila Prabhupada. Krishna was sleeping within the room, and as soon as he got up, he became hungry and went to his mother, wanting to stop her from churning and drink the milk of her breast. He stopped her from moving the churning rod. Amagyana timirandasya Gyananjana shalakaya Chakshurun militam yena tasmai Shri Guruve namaha Shri Chaitanya manobhistam Stapitam jena bhutale Swayam rupa kadamayam Tadati swapadantikam Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha Kripa sindubhya evacha Patitanam pavanabhyo Vaishnavabhyo namo namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Marigold, allergic. Thank you. I'm allergic to, if it comes near, it's Mahaprasad, but I touched it. If it comes near, then it takes me 1.5 hours to recover, sneeze and so forth. But the thought is important. Thank you. According to Srila Jiva Goswami in Gopal Champu, Goloka Vrindavan is a huge ever expanding lotus. And within that whirl of the lotus is enacted the pastimes of the Lord. But at times the Lord goes out of the whirl of the lotus for some specific reasons. Goloka Vrindavan is an expansion of Sandhini Shakti, and Sandhini Shakti is overseen as the presiding deity in the form of Sri Balaram. So through the potency of Sri Balaram, the Goloka Vrindavan planet is conscious of serving Krishna. Whole planet, Goloka Vrindavan, ever expanding petals of that huge, gigantic, unending, eternal lotus. Yeah. So to give you an example of that, there's one personality named Abhimanyu, who's the supposed husband of Srimati Radharani. But in Goloka Vrindavan, Abhimanyu means Abhiman. Abhiman indicates in Radharani's consciousness, she feels she is married. But there's no Abhimanyu there. But that Abhimanyu is manifest in Bhoma Vrindavan, here, in Bhoma Vrindavan, here, as the shadow form of Krishna. So, Krishna's shadow is always following Srimati Radharani as a supposed husband. So naturally, Srimati Radharani wants the source of that shadow, who is Nandanandana himself. Yeah. Yeah. So Krishna, he comes to Jawat. Jawat, or sometimes they say Yavat, which is between Nandagram and Vaishana. Anybody's been to Jawat? Yes, you must go there. Yeah. And there is the transcendental semi-blind Jyotila, who is the mother of Abhimanyu. And the transcendental semi-blind Jyotila, she is more acute in a sense of smell, because that covers up for a sense of not seeing properly. In other sense, the sense of smell becomes more sharper when you are semi-blind. Okay. She cannot see properly, but those who can see cannot know that someone is there. But somebody who cannot see, like Jyotila, by a smell, she can detect that somebody is outside the door and who that person is. Whereas somebody who can see properly cannot see. Okay. So Krishna comes around and you cannot see him. So Radharani's sister-in-law, her name is Kutila. See? And sometimes they say Kotila. The Brij Bhasha say Kotila. But it's spelled Kutila. Kutila comes from the root Sanskrit word Kuti. And Kuti is related to Kuti Nati. That means she is cunningly diplomatic. The sister-in-law of Radharani and daughter of Jyotila. So immediately when Krishna is there, Jyotila, the mother-in-law of Rarani, she tells Kutila, he's here. She says, how do you know? I know. I can smell him. I can smell him. He's here. Run. Catch him. Like that. So when Kutila comes out of that room and goes outside into the courtyard, she sees Krishna just disappearing. Like that. And she runs after him. When she runs after him, Krishna is running away. He doesn't want to be caught. So when he doesn't want to be caught, he becomes a little bit fearful. Like that. But Kutila can run a little faster than Krishna. Because a sort of transcendental adrenaline increases and she runs faster. She's determined to catch him. So what Goloka Vrindavan in the form of a lotus does, when Krishna runs, the lotus petals close. It closes. So Krishna is covering a longer distance in a shorter way by closing the petals. And when Kutila comes behind him, the lotus petal open. So she has to run for a longer distance. And then Krishna escapes. By the mercy and by the service of Goloka Vrindavan in the form of a lotus flower with so many unending lotus petals. So the same thing here. When Krishna goes and steals butter, he does not want to be caught. And Goloka Vrindavan knows the consciousness of Krishna. I do not want to be caught. So what happens? When the elderly gopis run after him, when the coward men run after, it closes, so he goes, he goes in the normal speed of his running, but he covers quicker distances because it's closed. When they run after him, it opens slightly. But that, it's not going to happen in Madhya Yasoda or Nanda Maharaja's household. That lotus doesn't open and close. Why? Because the lotus has the greatest regard, the planet, for Mother Yasoda. Doesn't happen. This pastime is coming about. Now in text number 1 and 2, it says, one day when Mother Yasoda saw that all the maidservants were engaged in other household affairs, because it was Diwali day, she personally began to churn the yogurt. Interesting. Who's a cook here? Do you churn yogurt? But how is Mother Yasoda churning milk from yogurt? Yesterday? What's it? And clockwise, anti-clockwise, with the rope and the churning rod. Shh, 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 shh. Then, diktum, 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 the mridanga. You remember? Then, kankano kundalaja. Then the bangles. And Mother Yasoda is singing the childhood pastimes of Krishna. So how is it? Of course, we said Mother Yasoda is a one-woman Sankirtan band. Yesterday we concluded with that. So she is involved in Sankirtan. Duktam, duktam, churning, and singing the childhood pastimes of Krishna. But how is it she's churning yogurt? You don't churn yogurt. You put the milk on the fire in the pan and it heats up, then you leave it to cool, right? And then you feel to see if it's warm when it cools. Then you add some other dahi or culture, some other dahi yogurt, and then you mix, and then you keep it covered for a couple of hours, right? Then it becomes yogurt. There's no churning. But there is. There is. And I explained that yesterday when you go into the remote villages of Brhat, they do that. It is mystical and inconceivable, where they churn milk into yogurt. They do it at a particular time of the day when the sun is at its hottest, and it becomes yogurt without heating. Becomes yogurt without heating. It's completely transcendental. Then in text number in text number 4, it says, it's very amazing. Text number 1 and 2 says, Dadi nirmantane, while churning the yogurt. In text number 4, it says, matnantim, while she was churning butter. How do you make butter? How do you make butter? Butter ghee. By churning yogurt you make butter. But you use a blender, right? You use an electric blender or something. You churn. Yes. That's the modern system. So when you use a blender, no consciousness passes through. No consciousness passes through. But when you actually make butter with your hands and you churn, then your consciousness enters that butter. That means consciousness of devotion. It enters that butter. Yeah. So it's very interesting. Just like in the material world, a mango tree will only give mango fruits. A fruit called mango. But the Kalpavriksha tree in the spiritual world gives any fruit in any season. One tree can give more than one type of fruit. Nice place. Nice place to go to. Yes. So therefore, the type of churning that Mother Yasoda does is the natural way how the Brijvasis live. That's the natural way. Yeah. And therefore, according to Sanatana Goswami in Brhat Bhagavatamrita, if you are not trained first in Boma Vrindavan, then you cannot enter into Krishna's eternal road show in one of the other universes where he is enacting his pastimes. And from there you go to Golok Vrindavan. So in Boma Vrindavan, you are trained to do these things. You're trained to do these things. So when we reach pure devotional service, we have to take birth in one of the families of the, Krishna conscious traditional families in the holy dhams, Mayapur, Navadvip, Vraj Mandala. Like that. You have to take birth there. And they train you up in all these things in a natural way. Like that. So that's the first step, entering the spiritual nature. So it's very important to understand this type of churning that goes on. Now, from Mother Yasoda being a one-woman Sankirtan band, duktam, duktam, and singing the pastimes of Krishna, that sound of that Sankirtan enters into Krishna's nostrils while is in a nidra mahi, or a type of yoga nidra. It's called spiritual slumber. So that enters his ears and into his heart. So it's time for him to rise and go to whoever is performing the kirtan. Yeah. So therefore, when we sing kirtan, accompanied by mridanga and kartals especially, we do not have to go to Krishna. Krishna comes to us. And that's what's happening in text number 4. Krishna comes, he leaves the room in which he was in spiritual slumber, and he awakens transcendentally, externally, and he comes to that place where Mother Yasoda now is churning butter. From milk she was churning yogurt in text 1 and 2, and in text 3 she's continuing to churn and making those transcendental sounds in the form of kirtan. And in text number 4, Krishna is attracted by that kirtan, and by this time within that pot, it has become from milk to yogurt to butter. Then Krishna comes. And Krishna comes, and the first thing he does, he positions himself in such a way that he has to stop the one activity of Mother Yasoda. And what is that one activity she's doing? She's churning yogurt. And Krishna says the reason she's churning yogurt is because of the bamboo. Because of that bamboo rod. So if you can stop the clockwise and anti-clockwise movement of the bamboo rod, then she will get his attention more clearly and fulfill his desire to drink the milk from her breasts, which in the previous verse the breasts were feeling, you remember? The breast milk was feeling, I am not qualified, and therefore was overflowing onto the atassi fibered saffron yellow sari, which we discussed yesterday. And Krishna knows that the milk from the breast is not feeling qualified to serve him. So that means you are qualified. Therefore, I am coming to drink you. In this particular verse. See? So, when that happens, then Krishna comes and it says, he caught hold of the churning rod. It's a bamboo rod. It's a particular special bamboo. He caught hold of the churning rod. Like that. And when he caught hold of the churning rod, it's a particular type of cane. You know the word C-A-N-E? You know, sometimes people carry a walking stick. It's made up of a bamboo that's called cane. You know cane? Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada tells us that is called vetra, cane. Yeah. And then there is another type of bamboo which is not like that cane, because the cane is not hollow. It is not hollow. Vetra is not hollow. It is used for churning. Okay. But the hollow bamboo is called kichaka. K-I-C-A-K, kichaka. And that hollow bamboo is a type that makes a particular type of sound when Krishna plays that as a flute. Kichaka, like that. And there's another type of bamboo that's also for the flute. It's called venunam. And venunam bamboo is a particular bamboo that's the favorite of Krishna to play the flute. Therefore those words, Venum Kvanvantam Aravinda. those famous words, Venum. Therefore, Krishna is called Venu Madhuri. In other words, Venu Madhuri means the sound, sweetness of the flute, that it's when it's played, it's Venu Madhuri. Yeah. And then there's a cluster of bamboos called Gulmani. And these cluster of bamboos, Gulmani, they form into a cluster like a celestial tree, and then it's called Surapadapan. And they grow mainly on the banks of the river Jamuna. Yeah. Yeah. And on the banks of the river Jamuna, there are also many trees. The Chuta tree, C-U-T, which is actually the actual word for a mango tree, like that. And there's another name for the mango tree, it's called Amra. So the mango sometimes becomes a creeper in its branches, and therefore it's called Chuta, but the tree becomes Amra. It's all personalities, Amra, like that, yeah. And then there's the Kadamba tree, and so forth. So when Krishna held that bamboo, practically is embracing that bamboo hard and fast with his fist. He has to hold it firm and steady because Mother Yasoda is trying to churn, but it has to stop churning. It has to stop churning. But the bamboo is hesitating to stop churning. Why? Because that butter is meant for Krishna. That butter is meant for Krishna. So when the bamboo hesitates to stop churning, and it sort of becomes as if it's slippery. When you hold something tight and it still wants to move, it becomes a little slippery. See? At that time, Mother Yasoda stops clockwise, anti-clockwise, to do that dictum. But the bamboo becomes slippery in Krishna's hand. And it also continues on its own accord. Given the consciousness of service that enters the bamboo, that Mother Yasoda wants me to complete this churning for you. For you. Completely conscious. Completely conscious. And then then Krishna says, huh? As soon as Mother Yasoda stopped churning and Krishna tightened his grip on the bamboo, but when he saw his Mother Yasoda left the ropes, he also left the bamboo. See? So when he left the bamboo, then the bamboo slowly stopped its movement. Slowly stopped his movement. Because Krishna knows that the desire of the milk from the breast wants to serve him, but feeling unqualified. So then, it says, he caught hold of the churning rod and began to prevent her from churning. And then in the actual verse itself, it says, wanting to stop her from churning and drink the milk of her breast, Prabhupada says in the purport, he stopped her from moving the churning rod. So that means he stopped her to actually give the sign to Mother, please breastfeed me. Please breastfeed me. Now, Prabhupada says in the purport, when Krishna got up and as soon as he came out of the room, like that, he became hungry. Like that. And another place, Srila Prabhupada says that he became hungry. Like that. Now normally, a hunger in the material world is a suffering condition. But here, hunger personified enters the consciousness of the Lord so that it's an enjoyable condition. Hunger personified. So Prabhupada says, he became hungry. Quoting from the commentary of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He became hungry. So when Ahanga personified entered the consciousness of Krishna, that's the only way he could drink milk. If he doesn't feel hungry, he'll do something else. So hunger personified assists the Lord to actually fulfill the desire of the milk for Mother Yasoda's breast. And it's all on the transcendental absolute platform. There's no misery when Krishna feels hungry. It actually increases his appetite. So when that happens, then Krishna leaves that bamboo rod and Mother Yasoda picks him up. And then the ropes, the ropes that were binding, the bamboo rod, and Mother Yasoda was holding them to churn, duk them, clockwise, anti-clockwise. The ropes were feeling, oh, I am so near, yet I am so far. I am so near, yet I am so far. How can Krishna embrace just with his hand the bamboo rod and leave us alone? We are right here. We are right here. And we know the desire of the ropes will be fulfilled. Krishna embraced the churning rod, but not the ropes. See? And then the ropes are feeling, oh, I am so near, yet so far. Krishna has not even noticed us. He's not even touching us. Maybe we are too big for him. Maybe we are too long for him. They were giving so many reasons in their consciousness. We are too big or too long for him, like that. Well, maybe if he cannot embrace us because we are too long for him, maybe one day we will embrace him. It's coming up. It's coming up. Yeah. Text number 5. Tan ankam arunam apayayat stanam sneha snutam sa smitam ikshati mukam atriptam utsrijya javane sayayav utsichyamane payasitva drishrite. Translation. You can repeat some words at a time after me. Beautiful verse, beautiful purport. Mother Yasoda, everyone, then embraced Krishna, allowed him to sit down on her lap, and began to look upon the face of the Lord with great love and affection. Because of her intense affection, milk was flowing from her breast. But when she saw that the milk pan on the oven was boiling over, she immediately left her son to take care of the overflowing milk. Although the child was not yet fully satisfied with drinking the milk of his mother's breast. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Everything in the household affairs of Mother Yasoda was meant for Krishna. Although Krishna was drinking the breast milk of Mother Yasoda, when she saw that the milk pan in the kitchen was overflowing, she had to take care of it immediately. And thus she left her son who then became very angry, not having been fully satisfied with drinking the milk of her breast. Sometimes one must take care of more than one item of important business for the same purpose. Therefore, Mother Yasoda was not unjust when she left her son to take care of the overflowing milk. On the platform of love and affection, it is the duty of the devotee to do one thing first and other things later. The proper intuition by which to do this is given by Krishna. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam pritipurvakam tadami buddhiyogam tam yenamam upayantite. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text 10. In Krishna consciousness, everything is dynamic. Krishna guides the devotee in what to do first and what to do next on the platform of absolute truth. Amazing contradiction here. Amazing contradiction. You know, we should please Krishna. But Mother Yasoda is not doing that here. So what does this actually mean? Srila Prabhupada says that when Mother Yasoda was churning the milk to yogurt and into butter, at that time when that milk was becoming butter, Prabhupada says, Krishna disrupted the process of service of Mother Yasoda to Krishna. Prabhupada's exact words. And that lecture was right here in Mayapur in October 12th in 1974. Right here in Mayapur. Okay. Srila Prabhupada says, therefore the service is there. Even Krishna is afraid of Yasoda. Why? Why Yasoda was trying to bind Krishna? Because he disrupted the process of service of Yasoda to Krishna. That's why he did. In this previous verse, text 4, by holding on the churning rod, Krishna disrupted Mother Yasoda's service for Krishna's pleasure. This is Prabhupada's analysis on this, like that. Such an amazing way. I was always thinking, Prabhupada, can you tell me where and why this is happening? Then I came across this lecture right here in Mayapur. Beautifully described, like that. Yeah. See? And he disrupted that service. See? So when he disrupted that service, he further disrupted Mother Yasoda because he's in his childhood. He's not a baby, he's in his childhood. He can walk, he can talk and so forth. So Mother Yasoda stood up after she was churning butter, like that. And she knew Krishna wants to go on her lap because Mother Yasoda was tugging her saffron yellow sari. And the sari got into ecstasy and became lucid. Like that. See? First worn by Mother Yasoda and then touched by Krishna. See? So direct prasad is Mahaprasad. But the prasad of a devotee and then Krishna prasad is Mahaprasad. Like that. See? So touch the sari. So that's when Mother Yasoda became lower. Krishna went onto her lap. And then she sat down and started breastfeeding him. How do you think the butter felt in the pot? I was about to be prepared to serve Krishna as butter. You know? But that breast milk stopped me from serving. Like that. And in the meantime, we'll continue with what Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada says. Amazing. Prabhupada says, Mother Yasoda tried to tell him, you have broken the butter previously and you distributed it to the monkeys. You're a rascal. Like that. And then how will you live? I kept the butter for you so that you will eat and you'll become fatty. Prabhupada uses the word in this beautiful like, he said, and Krishna will become fatty. In his very innocent language, Prabhupada, amazing, the deepest truths. Like that, yeah. But you have broken that. You have distributed butter to the monkeys. So you must be punished. But the punishment began, I'm forward reading for the verses to come. But the punishment began when Krishna disrupted her from completely churning the butter to milk to yogurt. Mother Yasoda knew that he disrupted me. For his pleasure I was doing this. He disrupted my service. Like that. So Srila Prabhupada says, so what does this mean? It means that the aim is to serve Krishna. And Mother Yasoda was feeling, now this boy has stopped this churning. Now my butter is spoiled for my own child. And the butter is feeling, yes, I am spoiled for my own child. Like that. Therefore, he should be punished. But then Krishna is onto her lap. And then Prabhupada says, and then she looks upon Krishna's face, and then Krishna smiles. Please breastfeed me by his smile. And then all anxiety that he disrupted this service becomes full of love and affection, and she begins to breastfeed him. Like that. Everything is got to do with very intimacy of consciousness, even the paraphernalia of the Lord. And while she began breastfeeding Krishna, simultaneously while she was churning butter, she had some milk in the pan that was over the fire. Sometimes it's called oven, put on the oven, but it's actually over the fire. In the pan, the milk, like that. So that milk in the pan, over the fire, he's wondering, that butter has been spoiled because Krishna disrupted the service. Now Krishna is drinking the breast milk of Mother Yasoda, which was overflowing before. Like that. What's going to happen to me? He'll be full. And I'm already in the pan over the fire boiling, to be made into other milk sweets and so forth like that. No chance. He'll be full. He won't be hungry. No chance. Like that. So the milk in the pan over the fire decided, not worth to live. Let me commit suicide. Let me boil over the pan and into the fire. I am not qualified. It's not worth to live over the fire. And then what Mother Yasoda did? Immediately she thrust Krishna, not gently. She practically pulled his transcendental lips from the nipples of her breast and put him aside, and immediately left him to take care of the overflowing milk. Now the overflowing milk feeling, now I'm worse than I thought. First I wanted to commit suicide, and my committing suicide, I created the greatest apparat. Now Krishna is thrust on the floor. Better I go inside. So Mother Yasoda comes close to that, pan, and she says, the milk was overflowing, and I could see some squish sound into the fire, like that. The milk was overflowing, But the milk was also suggesting to fire that, look, it's useless for you too. Let us both die. I merge into you, you merge into me. You won't function, I won't function. But Mother Yasoda was coming close, and then the fire rekindled, and the milk stopped flowing. And she found, oh, okay. She adjusted everything. In that several minutes of getting bewildered, what is going on here? Getting bewildered. What did Krishna do? Anger personified took over him. Like that. And when he became angry, that is the beginning of the thieving consciousness, to steal. It has to enter that stealing consciousness. If it doesn't enter Krishna's consciousness, he cannot do the job. He cannot steal. He can steal in other people's homes, but he won't steal from his own home. See? I'm going to explain this in another way, but it's bewildering at the same time. In the material world, you get lust, anger, and then greed. Lust, anger, and greed. It is also there in Krishna originally. See? He is that type of the word. It's actually very difficult to explain in the English language. The karma, or in transcendental world, is not lust. It is called deep desire. But that word materially in the world, material world, is called lust. It is not the same. So that type of karma, or deep desire to get the breast milk of Mother Yasoda, from which comes anger. And from anger comes greed. And greed comes stealing. Even in the material world. But Krishna, origination, deep desire, type of karma, then anger, then greed. And from greed, the offshoot of greed is, I have to steal. I have to steal. Offshoot of greed, I have to steal. Now, so I was meditating on this situation with Krishna stealing, and I came to like a sort of a conclusion that one senior devotee told me like that. He said, I come from a very, very wealthy family. I can get whatever I need. And I can not work and enjoy every day in Hawaii. And still there'll be enough money for me to last maybe 20 lifetimes. Like that. Yeah. Then I said, what are you trying to tell me? He said, can you explain to me why I like to do shoplifting? He said, when I go into a shop, I first study the security systems, where the cameras are, where this and that is, and so forth, right? And then in like major stores, when you shoplift something and put in your pocket, you have to go through the sensor, And if you don't pay for it, then you can get, the sensor can catch it. He said, I'm even expert at taking something from the shop, putting in my pocket, and going through the sensor because I have another magnetic field in my pocket that cuts the sensor off when I walk through. He said, I have become expert. You know what shoplifting? Yes. You go into the shop, you take something, but you don't pay for it, and you walk out without getting caught. He said, I have become expert. But he said, and when I do that, when I come out, I feel the greatest ecstasy. Yeah. I'm thinking, my God. He said, but I can't understand it, that I come from such a wealthy family, I get everything I need. He's a devotee. But he used to do this before he became a devotee. And he said, how is this like that? And then, because I gave a class a few days ago, and he attended the class on a Sunday program, and I said, everything in the material world has its original and natural counterpart in the spiritual world, like that. So I was meditating on this, and I told him, is that like shoplifting or stealing coming from a wealthy family? Is it like bona fide spiritually? Like that, is it there? Then I came across this pastime. Like that. Then I came across this pastime. Like that. So then I asked him, what do you do nowadays? He said, well, I know how to steal Mahaprasad without getting caught. I said, you do that? He said, yes, I can't help it. I have the tendency. It's very deep in me, It's very deep in me, like that. Then I asked him, what else do you do? He said, no, sometimes I steal something in front of their eyes, like that. I steal something like in the ashram or something in front of their eyes, and I keep it somewhere else. Just that thrill of stealing something and keeping it somewhere else gives me ecstasy. Then I said, then what else? He said, no, when the person is looking for his item and he cannot find it, like that, they say one person can find it, it's me. And they think I have some mystical power. So he steals the stuff, he leaves it somewhere else, and then they say, you please come. Then he'll ask questions. So where did you walk the last time? What did you do? Which route? He'll ask all these questions. Meanwhile, knowing where the stuff is. And they'll completely believe him. And he says when he finds that, and then when he finds it for them, and he sees the devotee, and the devotee said, oh, I'm so happy you found my cell phone, I'm so happy, I don't know what is like... Shakti you have, you just find things for people when they lose it, like that. And he keeps it like that. And he says when the devotee is so happy and ecstasy, he becomes so joyful that it's as if he served the devotee. This is Krishna. So when he speaks like that, I'm just remembering all these things about Krishna, like that. And I said, then he asked me, how do you give up the tendency? How do I give up the tendency to steal Mahaprasad, not getting caught, to steal things from people and put it somewhere else, and then I find it for them? How do I give it up? Like that. I said, you only have to immerse yourself in chanting the holy names and Krishna Katha. And I specifically told him to read over and over this particular 9th chapter of Madhya Yasoda, Binding Lord Krishna. And I said, and you'll come out of it. Like that. So it's true. Everything, every little emotion, everything, and much more is in the spiritual world. For example, you can only make yogurt in a particular way here, right? But in the spiritual world, they can make yogurt by churning with the natural temperature of the sun. So there's much more than everything that's here in its other type of reflected spirit, whereas in its originality, it's there in Krishna and in Krishna's associates. So Krishna has become angry at Mother Yasoda. Okay, I'll go to text number 6. Sanjata kopa spurita runa daram sandasya dadvir dadimanta bhajanam bitva mishashur drisat asmanaraho jagasahayan gavam antaram gataha. Translation. You can repeat after me. Being very angry and biting his reddish lips with his teeth, Krishna, with false tears in his eyes, broke the container of yogurt with a piece of stone. Then he entered a room and began to eat the freshly churned butter in a solitary place. You remember that pot? Where Mother Yasoda was churning the milk into yogurt, and in text number 4 it became butter, and then he stopped the churning rod? Yes. Krishna knew the desire of that butter. He knew the desire of that butter. He said, look, I cannot honor you nicely through the fingers of my mother. But I'll have to honor you another way. Like that. So what did he do? He took the stone. See? And the stone is the Chintamani jewel. He took that stone and he held it tightly. But the stone, when Krishna holds it, it melts in ecstasy. So when he took the stone and he broke the container of yogurt, the breaking of the stone to the pot, you know, the clay pot, like that. See, the clay pot. He broke that pot. He didn't go through the top part. He went through the pot. Like that. So the stone, because it becomes softened from Krishna's touch, it broke the pot, but it didn't really break the pot. I'm repeating. Please try to digest. It broke the pot, but it didn't really break the pot. It's hard to explain another way. So then, when Krishna, through the medium of the stone, broke the pot broke, and Krishna touches the pot. And the pot is made of regular Vrajaduli, dust of Vrindavan, sand. Dust of Vrindavan sand breaks the pot like that. See? So this is the fulfillment of my existence, is to be broken by Krishna. And then Krishna takes that butter, freshly churned. This is the most freshly churned butter, not the ones in the storeroom. Right now it has been churned. Like that. And he takes that butter and he moves to a solitary place in the corner of another place. So when that happens, Krishna enters the room And when he begins to eat this freshly churned butter, he eats it by sort of, you could say, biting his reddish lips with his teeth. See? Now you know, you can embrace someone very normally and affectionately. But also you can embrace someone very, very roughly. Like that. So this butter was being embraced by his lips in a rough manner. He broke it first. Then, I want to eat you. Like that. He's doing that simply because he's angry with his mother. But at the same time, anger must lead to stealing in his own house. See? So the thief personified becomes Krishna. Thieving or thief personified becomes Krishna. And that's when he gets that name. Makan Chor. Famous Makan Chor name. That's when he gets that name. Text number 7. Utarya gopi shushritam payapuna pravisya sandrishya cha dadya matrakam bhagnam vilokya sva sutasya karmataj jaha satam chapi natatrapasyati. Repeat the translation. Mother Yasoda, after taking down the hot milk from the oven, returned to the churning spot. And when she saw that the container of yogurt was broken and that Krishna was not present, she concluded that the breaking of the pot was the work of Krishna. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Seeing the pot broken and Krishna not present, Yasoda definitely concluded that the breaking of the pot was the work of Krishna. There was no doubt about it. So when Mother Yasoda took that hot milk from the oven, the hot milk, you could say in one sense, received the consciousness of Mother Yasoda and became pacified in feeling in a fallen state, but feeling even more fallen that Krishna had to be thrust on the floor because of my desire to serve Krishna, so that he can partake of me in the form of milk sweets when it's made later. That way. So Mother Yasoda, when she did that, she also became, you could say, in one sense, pacified. But when she returned to the churning place and saw that that butter from that milk, from that butter from the broken pot was no more there, she immediately concluded that Krishna is the culprit here. Like that. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, this is indicative that Mother Yasoda is now completely in belief and genuinely knows that Krishna was stealing from the other elderly gopis' homes. Like that. See? So now, Krishna stealing from the elderly gopis' homes gave them so much ecstasy to complain in the form of complaints to Mother Yasoda, and this is the same ecstasy that's beginning to enter into a consciousness. I have to catch my boy. I have to catch my boy and punish him. Like that. I have to catch my boy and punishment. Like that. So, there are no criminals in the spiritual world. Nobody is a rogue or a thief. See? But you have to catch criminals. And the only person who can become a criminal is that person whose dharmam tu shakshat bhagavat pranitam. The person who enunciates the laws of dharma, which is Krishna himself. See? In other words, you cannot commit a crime or steal in Goloka Vrindavan or in Boma Vrindavan. You cannot do that. Because there's a natural cause of culture where people do not know what is our dharma. They do not know what is religiosity. It doesn't exist. There's no relativity, there's no opposites in the spiritual world. There's no relative truth. There's only the absolute truth. But because our dharma exists in the material world, it has to have its originality in the spiritual world. So Krishna becomes so-called immoral. Krishna becomes so-called adharmic. He steals. See? He steals. Srila Prabhupada said at one time that Krishna can speak the whole Bhagavad Gita. Like that. When he was asked the question, why did Lord Buddha, who's an incarnation of Krishna, appear and deny the Vedas and then reinstate the Vedic teachings again on his own accord? Like that. Then Srila Prabhupada said, yes, Krishna can also do that, just as Buddha did. Krishna can speak the entire Bhagavad Gita, and at the same time he can come and deny that Bhagavad Gita and speak another one. See, this is Krishna. See? Krishna is within the laws of Dharma. At the same time, he can show his supremacy by being above the laws of Dharma. Therefore, he does this pastime, above the laws of Dharma. Like that. He's telling Mother Yasoda, I'm not subject to being brought up like an upright boy. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, with whomever I want. This is me. And that is called Adipurusha. He is the supreme enjoyer. So if he wants to enjoy stealing in his own home, why not? But simultaneously is going to give the greatest pleasure to Krishna, to Mother Yasoda. Greatest pleasure to Mother Yasoda. And he's going to give even more greater pleasure to the elderly gopis. See? We told you this was happening all the time. Now you have to resort to this by binding him up. Like that. And of course, we know when the elderly gopis come around, like that, they tell Mother Yasoda, you bound him up? We didn't do that. You have made him an animal? You bind an animal, he's pasu. You made him animal? Like that. And that too, he was standing up and running around and stealing from our houses. We didn't put him in his all fours. You made him animal. Krishna was dragging that mortar, on all fours. Pasu. You made him animal. They started chastising Mother Yasoda when they saw him bound up. And we'll come to speak what Nanda Maharaj told Yasoda. Like that. Amazing this pastime. Yeah. So therefore we see Krishna is full of activities that are so mischievous and so cheerful and so ecstatic. At the same time, it is full of situations where our dharma and dharma are completely absolute in Krishna. That makes him the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he can do anything he wants and anything he likes at any time. Amazing personality. And we are connected to that greatest of personalities, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All right, we'll conclude for today. Yeah. So the one announcement is that tomorrow we'll have a little shorter discourse or class. We'll begin just before 4 with some kirtan, and right at 4 o'clock I will begin. Normally we do kirtan at 4 because the Adivas ceremony and filling in the participants for the Navadvip Mandal Parikrama, for the Kartik, Navik Mandal Kartik Parikrama, it's going to happen in the same venue, in the same hall or room at around 5 o'clock. So we'll go for about 45 minutes, 50 minutes or two, almost an hour tomorrow. All right, we thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anantakari Vaishnava Vranda ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari.